Tasmania's Treasurer and Deputy Premier has preempted a no-confidence motion by resigning from Cabinet. Michael Ferguson had been under increasing pressure over the Spirit of Tasmania replacement fiasco. Now, after shedding his infrastructure portfolio in August, he's moving to the backbench. State political reporter Lucy MacDonald joins us now. Lucy, how did Michael Ferguson announce his resignation?
Well, Guy, after weeks of mounting pressure, Deputy Premier and Treasurer Michael Ferguson has resigned from Cabinet. Mr Ferguson was facing a no-confidence motion tomorrow over his handling of the Spirit of Tasmania saga. Now, while it's been going on for quite a while now, it was a few months ago we found out the berth wasn't going to be ready in time for the arrival of the ships. 6 weeks ago, he relinquished the infrastructure portfolio. The tipping point really seems to have been evidence from former TT Line Chairman Mike Granger last week. Since then, we've seen a number of crossbenchers, the Greens and of course Labor, come out and say they don't have confidence in the Deputy Premier. Now, it was just over an hour ago that Michael Ferguson announced he would be resigning from Cabinet. He said as a former maths teacher, he could do the numbers and he didn't have them. So he said he was doing the honourable thing and he was stepping down rather than having Parliament take up its time tomorrow debating this motion. Now, he won't be leaving Parliament entirely. He will become instead a dedicated backbencher and a loyal local member. Here's what he had to say earlier.
The numbers are clearly not there. We can make our arguments and we've worked very hard. We've discussed respectfully with different members of the crossbench, including those who have pledged confidence and supply. The numbers are not there. It's for others to explain their position. And in those circumstances, I'm a former maths teacher, I can count, and I just recognise that this is the most pragmatic, sensible and I hope honourable decision to support the Parliament to get on with its important job tomorrow.
So, Lucy, how is the government going to fill the ministerial void left by Michael Ferguson?
Well, the Premier is going to have to find a new Deputy Premier and Treasurer, both roles with big responsibility. Now, he said the Deputy Premier will be elected within the next 24 hours, but as for the Treasurer, that will come with the Cabinet reshuffle, which will be sometime this week. Now, of course, with Michael Ferguson going to the backbench, it also means someone's going to have to come in from the backbench. Here's what the Premier said.
I will be taking on the responsibilities that Michael has relinquished, and I'll continue to do that until we have new positions formed as a result of a reshuffle.
And when will that be?
I expect that to be sometime this week.
So this has all been very last minute and it's quite different to how the day started. Here's how it all unfolded. Tasmania's Parliament House was set to be the scene of a showdown.
Can I have some order in the House, please?
Tomorrow we will move the motion of no confidence. We believe we have the support of the crossbench.
But it was headed one way only, with the majority of lower house MPs confirming they'd lost confidence in the Deputy Premier and Treasurer over his handling of the Spirit replacement saga.
We have no confidence in Michael Ferguson as Treasurer or in his capacity to hold any other ministerial portfolios.
The new Spirit of Tasmania ferries, which are over budget and overdue, are set to arrive in Tasmania well before port infrastructure is ready. For years, Michael Ferguson had responsibility for the project as both Transport and Infrastructure Minister.
I think the evidence is now there that this is a level of incompetence that can't be tolerated.
It's also shown his absolute incapacity to be honest with Tasmanians. He has not been transparent, not just on once or twice, but many, many years of failing to answer questions.
3 independents had indicated support for a no-confidence motion. But the Premier was standing firm, insisting he had full confidence in his embattled deputy.
Minister Ferguson has already accepted responsibility for the Spirit of Tasmania situation by relinquishing his responsibility as Infrastructure Minister.
But that wasn't the last price he'd pay. Lucy MacDonald, ABC News.
Michael Ferguson was seen as a man who might be Premier. Now he's about to start a new political life on the backbench of State Parliament. Josh Duggan takes a look back at his career.
It wasn't that long ago Michael Ferguson harboured leadership ambitions.
Tasmania's new Premier and the man who wanted the job.
One of Tasmania's longest-serving politicians, he entered State Parliament in 2010 after an earlier stint in federal politics. Jumping straight onto the shadow front bench, having previously been a teacher, he found his feet in education.
Love shutting schools. I never saw a school that didn't want to shut.
When the Liberals swept into government in 2014, Mr Ferguson was given a chance to clean up health.
We won't be shying away from it, and we will rescue the Royal.
But his 5-year stint in that portfolio was anything but easy.
It doesn't matter how much money you put into it, it's a bit like putting petrol into a car that's up on blocks.
With confidence in him faltering, he was moved on, avoiding a parliamentary vote for the first time.
His dumping from the health portfolio comes just 3 days after Will Hodgman backed him in.
When Will Hodgman resigned in 2020, Mr Ferguson was to challenge Peter Gutwein for the leadership, but pulled out.
A strong and united government focused on the needs of Tasmanians.
In 2022, when the Liberals needed a new leader, he again took a back seat, instead becoming Deputy Premier and Treasurer. His latest budget copped criticism for tracking a deeper path into debt, but it's infrastructure that would prove his undoing.
I said, Minister, our single biggest risk in this whole project is Tasports and Berth 3. Minister Ferguson replied that I needed to learn to play in the sand pit with Tasports.
Not only are the 2 new Spirit of Tasmania ships delayed, but they're over budget, and the port infrastructure is nowhere near ready for their arrival.
We think this is the biggest infrastructure stuff up in Tasmania's history, and something needs to be done about it.
Thanks, guys.
A perceived lack of accountability and transparency costing him his job. Josh Duggan, ABC News.